Hey everyone, Luke here with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a subscriber's question on how to stay calm and how to talk to customers who are being very arrogant and difficult, and just how you should act in general with your customers. As we all know, phone flipping can be difficult at times, and so can any other sales-related business. We have to deal with all types of people in this business, and so it's really good to have really good people skills. Let's go. Hey everybody, Luke here. So subscriber question just messaged me basically, and they said, I've been having some big problems dealing with constant arrogant or just ignorant customers, and they're starting to get on my nerves, and some of the responses I've said have not been very professional. How do you deal with this, Luke? So this is a subscriber question. I'm going to do this video for this subscriber, and we're going to go into that. So this is an awesome question, and in sales we deal with so many different people. I mean, we have to be people. We have to be people. If you're not a people person, then this business is going to be difficult for you, but it's very easy to learn how to be a people person. So one thing that you can do, no matter how ignorant or arrogant a customer is always treat them with kindness. Don't ever respond to them in a rude tone or a rude manner. Don't belittle them or make them feel stupid or make them feel like, you're only buying their phone because you're doing them a favor. Don't use any kind of wording like that that's going to make them feel small. Although, when the customer says they want $400 for their iPhone 6 or something, obviously the first thing that comes to mind naturally as a human is you want to basically tell them to screw off or that they're stupid, because asking $400 for an iPhone 6 is ridiculous. However, you'll find that in most situations, whether it's in phone flipping or sales or in life, if you use a calmer persona or calm wording to actually kind of diffuse the situation, oftentimes you can actually reverse the situation and end up closing the deal or resolving the conflict. So a really good example of this, and before I say this, just a disclaimer, I do not do politics, I do not follow politics, and I'm not a fan of politics. But I will say this, the current president that we have would probably get a much better response from the majority of people out there if he was a little more humble and less blunt about things. Now, me personally, this doesn't bother me at all as I don't follow politics, but you'll notice, everybody, that most people in the world are very sensitive to what they receive, but not so much what they put out. So with most people in the world, when they say, I want $400 for my iPhone 6, and if you don't give it to me, well, screw you, I'm taking it to the pawn shop, and you respond, well, screw you, you're stupid, they're going to flip out on you. So you'll notice that in sales and just in the world in general, most people don't watch so much what they dish out or how they speak, but they realize once it comes back on them. A lot of people basically, they either can't take a joke or they can't take the criticism back. And it's a flaw that a lot of people have. It is what it is. However, like I said, the best way to deal with ignorant or arrogant customers or just difficult customers that are asking weird, odd, or just questions that really don't make any sense, the best way to be is to be humble. Don't be blunt, because there's a lot of people, especially in my generation, people in their 20s to, early 30s, it just seems like everybody gets offended really, really, really easily. And so you need to show kindness. If you're kind with your customers and you're humble and you try to actually help them rather than belittle them or make them feel dumb or stupid or insignificant, I promise you 9 times out of 10, you'll actually be able to turn that situation around, even if it seems like the customer has no idea what they're talking about or you're not even close on price. If you do this, just this one little trick, just basically being humble with them, you can actually turn any deal around. And it takes a long time to master this. There's a lot of tonality in which you speak, when you get louder, softer. There's so many different things to this and how to actually, make somebody feel something different with when you speak to them. And another thing when it comes to being humble, you need to make the customer feel like you are providing value. That's one of the biggest things. It's not always about price. I know a lot of customers will message us saying they want, $300-$400 for an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 6. And really what the customer is looking for is they're looking for validation that they actually have a decent phone. Now, obviously there are cases out there where the person is nearly impossible, but even at that point, never ever be rude to that customer, because many times I've had customers that have asked a ridiculous price. I was really nice with them. I even told them, gave them that validation that, hey, an iPhone 7 is a really nice phone and it was a really great phone in the back, like back in the day. But unfortunately, the iPhone 10 is out and the iPhone XS or iPhone 11. And so I just can't offer you what you paid for the phone. So see, I validate them by saying, hey, it is a really good phone. However, since it's old, this is why I can't pay so much. So you never want to belittle the customer or what they're selling. And it might sound like a little tip, but I promise just this small change in how you handle your customers and the communications with them will make the biggest difference in your business. It's shocking, actually. There is a time and place for everything. Some customers, you want to make an offer, you want to be firm and tell them that if they don't take that, you're not interested. Sometimes you can close the deal on that. And what I call that pressure sales, or like hard closing, like just being a hard closer, just telling the customer, hey, it's $300 for the iPhone 7, plus if you don't take it today, I'm not interested in it ever. That's just an example. By the way, I wouldn't pay $300 for an iPhone 7 Plus right now, at least most likely not, unless it was a very large gigabyte and it was unlocked or something. But anyways, that's besides the point. But the point is, if you can master the technique of being humble, being basically a chameleon with your personality type, you will close more deals than somebody who is out advertising you. The whole scheme of things when it comes to sales and, phone flipping and any type of sales or MLM business is relating to the customer, validating the customer, and then showing, humbleness to the customer. Showing them that they are not, any less insignificant than you are, and that they're not a burden, that you're actually trying to buy their phone from them, and that it's kind of a mutual exchange of value. They're doing you a favor, you're doing them a favor. Never make them seem like they're an inconvenience or they're ignorant or arrogant, because like I said, I've had some people where the price has been ridiculous, and then days later, since I was so nice to them and so calm about handling the situation, they'll actually come back to me and text me saying that, hey, I thought about your offer and you were really nice about how you explained everything and why it's worth so much. I'd like to take your offer. When could you meet? That happens to me many times. And, there's no better feeling than actually buying a phone and knowing that the customer is actually happy to sell you their phone. They're not mad about it. They're not upset about it. You didn't pressure sale them into it. And it just depends on how you want to close people. But me personally, I try and be humble when it comes to the customers. I try and relate to them. I try and ask them, why do you need money? Like if I give them an offer and they're like, oh, I don't know, that's too much, or yeah, that's a good offer. I try and relate to them and ask, why do you need money, or why are you selling it? And I try and get to know them. See, once you build trust in someone and like kind of become their friend too, they also will bring you more deals. I mean, you can establish relationships like this with every single customer you get. Given there are some customers that are just kind of one and done customers, you do a deal with them and you're probably not going to see them, or they're from out of town, or whatever their story is. There are certain customers that, yeah, it's okay to be silent with, but never be rude, never be ignorant, never attack them. The subscriber that asked me this question, he sent me some screenshots, and I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but Mr. Subscriber out there, just didn't want to put your subscriber name out there. Some of those responses that you sent to the customers, I totally understand your frustration, but it's just never good to respond like that, because as I've said, especially, just the whole personality and communications end of sales, you don't want to do that. You don't want to ever burn your bridges with customers. And on top of that, most people in this generation don't respond well to somebody being very blunt. The only time bluntness seems to work very well is when it's from somebody who has proven themselves from, time and time and time again. A really good example is Grant Cardone. So we all know Grant Cardone knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's got over $1 billion in real estate, and I've watched so many Grant Cardone videos, and the one thing that he says, it doesn't offend me, but I know for a fact there's other people out there in the world that get offended by it, and he tells people to not be a little bitch. And that's totally fine. What he's trying to say by that, in the unblunt way, is basically you need to get up, you need to go to work for yourself, you need to get it. Like, stop being lazy. Go out there and get it. How bad do you want it? Stop being a little bitch. That's what Grant Cardone is trying to say. Now, a lot of people out there can relate to that because it's practical, it's logical, but it's also blunt and it's in your face. And as I said earlier in the video, a lot of people, especially this younger generation coming up, they are very sensitive to a lot of things. A good example, like I said, is the president. Once again, I think personally he would have so much more success in what he does and how he says things if he wouldn't come off as so overpowering, overtaking, and blunt. And I personally have no problem with it, just some of the stuff that I've seen on Facebook, but this is through my own personal observation on just some of the Facebook things people share, even on my personal Facebook, and people are commenting, and there's rants and raves, and it's just like, my gosh, it's like people waste so much time and effort on it all because they're offended by words. And it makes sense and everything. Everybody's different. Like I said, there's people out in the world that only eat meat. There's people out in the world that eat everything. There's people out in the world that are vegans. And we all need to get along and respect everybody out there. And when it comes to respecting somebody that's your customer, it's even more so because you might deal with this person over and over again. And they're also giving you business. I mean, you're going to make money off them. So why wouldn't you be nice to them? Sometimes you might be dealing with someone also that's just having a bad day. Maybe, the girl that's texting you about her broken iPhone 6S, maybe her boyfriend just broke up with her, so she's being short with you and she's being angry about your offer, or she's just being rude to you. You never know what somebody else is going through or what they've been through recently, so it's always good to just approach everybody, with a humble and nice and just kind of a helpful manner. And I know it's difficult sometimes out there, but I promise you, if you do this, your business will increase and you'll close more customers based on just your personality and kind of blending in with every different customer that you meet. Like I said, everybody out there is different. And when you become a people person, and you really need to be in this business, that's when you'll really start to succeed. So I hope this answers your question for the subscriber out there that wanted me to do this video, and for anybody else out there that's kind of having difficulty dealing with customers and just some of the rejections and odd things that we deal with. I hope this video brought you some value, and I also hope that it changes the way you think when, you want to respond to a customer in kind of a rude way just because they're pushing your buttons. So that being said, make sure you guys smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.